We're starting off here with William. William with Allworth's Money Matters.
Hey, how's it going?
We're good. Thanks for putting up with our
I had
discussions.
Yeah,
You're sitting on hold.
I had what I think is a simple question. I'm not sure. So I recently retired. I think I'm going to finish the year kind of with some lower reportable income, and I was considering a Roth rollover
Conversion.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I wondered if that's a hard process or if it's just a matter of moving the money and then reporting it on your taxes.
Thank you for calling. Thank you for calling. So,
and there's still time in the year, but not a lot.
So I went through the whole story about my kids, right? So last year, my daughter started law school. She had a job as a teacher. We had converted in law school. She's not making any money. We converted all her 401ks into an IRA or 403bs into an IRA, and then we converted to a Roth.
She saved when she was a teacher.
When she is a teacher. So my third child started opened his own company, high-end portable toilets that you use at weddings and events. And he will have no income for the foreseeable future to speak of. Fortunately, he saved up a lot of money. He worked in private equity as an analyst. He saved up a lot of money. And he said to me,
you're just bragging. One kid's an attorney. The other one's private equity guy. Okay. Your kids are all doing fine.
So he said to me, should I do a Roth conversion? And I said, well, this is something you should bring up with your financial advisor, but yes, most likely. So tell us, what is your income for 2024?
It'll be mostly interest and gains. I think it's going to be around 40.
Okay.
And so I know I have a big gap there, but I didn't know if I need to do this all before the end of the year, or is it like a regular IRA contribution that you can do?
No, it's calendar year. And why is did you lose employment? Did you quit, or are you in a life transition? You retired. And how old are you?
59.
And when do you go back to work?
He's retired.
Oh, do you ever plan on going back to work?
He's retired.
I'm hoping. Yeah, I thought retirement was no more working, but
are you married?
Yeah. No.
You know, what are you going to live on the next couple of years?
Savings and a small pension I have from my company I work for.
Let's forget the Roth IRA. Well, we'll talk about the Roth IRAs. You should be looking into the Obamacare for health care.
Oh, I have that. That's why I was able to retire.
Okay. Have you heard us talk about this previously on the show?
Obamacare?
Yeah, the Obamacare.
No, I'd heard that before. I mean, I knew I would have some money, but then I was like, well, if I retire, I need medical insurance, and that's over $1,000 a month.
And it's only looks at your income. They don't look at your assets. You could have $10 million saved up.
Yeah.
And if your income,
it doesn't matter. And what will your income?
But the other thing with the IRA, with the Roth rollover, is it does affect what you'll have to pay.
That's right.
That's right.
You get that adjustment at the end of the year. So that's why I was thinking that after the year was over, I could do some math and say, well, what if I did this much in a Roth rollover? How much more am I going to have to pay for Covered California or Obamacare?
That's right.
But
that's right.
It sounds like I can't do that.
That is 100% correct, right? Which is, does it make sense to do the Roth over? And I don't know what the qualifying income level is for a single individual for Obamacare. Do you?
It's not like you get it or you don't. It's you have to make a larger copay.
Yeah.
Or
so I mean,
you have to pay more for it. Here, to make more money.
The way the tax brackets work, right? It's very progressive. So we have some income we don't pay any tax on at all. A little bit of 10%. Then we have a 12% bracket. Then it bumps from 12 to 22%. And what you don't want to do is have your withdrawals from retirement accounts in a 22% tax bracket when you had an opportunity to pay tax at an only 12% rate. That's for the vast majority of Americans, that is the planning opportunity.
So how much is this?
And then it goes from 22% all the way up to 37%.
What's your monthly pension going to be, or is?
That part will be about $1,800 a month.
And how much money do you have in IRAs?
401ks, all that.
$1 million?
Yeah.
And how about brokerage accounts or
savings.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's $1 million's everything.
And do you own a home?
Part of that is a regular IRA. Part of that's a Roth IRA, and part of that's just a brokered account.
How much?
Yeah,
you own a home outright?
Yeah.
How much do you have in regular IRAs?
Probably 400 and another 200 in Roth and the other 4 in brokerage. That's roughly.
And how much are you going to live on a month?
Probably 2,500 to 3,000.
Well, I don't know if it matters that much.
Well, so the tax bracket, we have a standard deduction of roughly 15,000. Let's call it 15,000, and then we jump from a 12% to a 22% bracket at 47,000 for singles. So let's call that $62,000 of income, and still be in that lower tax bracket. So everything else being equal, based on what you told us, you might, it makes sense to convert about $20,000. What that does to your copay, I don't know.
That's where you look at this and you say if there was,
and further, there might be there's also opportunity for capital gains, because the way right now you're not paying any capital gains tax. You can pay capital gains at a very low rate. So there could be some securities that you've held for a long time that would make sense for you to diversify. So you got to analyze that as well.
So it does make sense for you to do Roth IRA, with the exception of the fact that your copay on your insurance may go up. And your 401k balance, your IRA balance, as a percentage of your portfolio is only 40%, right? And when you look at what your monthly distribution will be on top of that, $1,800 a month in pension, you need another $700, but you're going to top that up for taxes. So you figure you're going to be living on about $1,200 a month out of there. If you said all $1 million was in an IRA, it would be much. I'd be really, really pushing on this. I'd be pushing on it. But $400,000 of it is in an IRA, and you're 59 years of age. I would worry more about the copay on the insurance than I would on the tax savings in the future.
Because you're probably going to be in always low tax bracket.
You're always going to be. It looks like, unless something happens,
it would make
right. I didn't know what was going to happen when I start taking Social Security at whatever age I feel I need it. So that's why I was like, well, I got to at least tell.
You're still going to be in a relatively low tax bracket, but you've got about you have roughly $20,000 of income, of room for 2024, and still be in the lower tax bracket, which is still the tax bracket where you pay 0 in capital gain tax, federal. So there's 2 opportunities and 1 negative, right? The negative is the Obamacare, that you need to look at what the copayment's going to be. But the opportunity, it's either Roth conversion, or you own some stock that is at a higher percentage of your portfolio than it should and would make sense, particularly at retirement age.
And then you recognize that
gain. And then maybe it makes some sense this would be the year to sell off some of those shares to recognize the gain.
Okay.
That would be more important, frankly.
You're saying I have to do that all by the end of the year.
That's correct.
I can't. It's not like a regular.
That is correct.
Contribution. Okay.
Any Roth conversion.
I need to. Before I was saying I'll just wait till the end of the year. I'll figure
out
what it is, and then I can just do some modeling and if I put this in, how much?
That's correct, but
pay back Obamacare but so it sounds like I need to do that sooner than later.
That's right. Remember, the contributions can be made up until April 15th, but the conversions have to take place in the calendar year.
Right. Okay.
Right. But I got to tell you, if you didn't do it, if you're go through the math. But the one thing I would be focusing on is what it did to my copay rather than what it did to my marginal tax rate. Scott?
Okay. Yes, I would look at. Given your situation, odds are you will be in a lower tax bracket
forever.
First of all, half Americans don't pay any taxes, so they're and then the vast majority are in that lower bracket. Very small percentage of taxpayers are in the higher brackets.
Okay, so it doesn't even sound like it's the end of the world if I didn't do it, or I could do it next year if I did the math this year.
Yeah, if I were you though, I would certainly look at it all.
I'd go through the exercise and figure out maybe it's only 10,000. But the thing to pay attention to is what it does to the copay.
Yeah. And do you have any in your brokerage account? Do you have any stocks that are making up more than 10 or 15% of the portfolio?
I had a mutual fund that I'd had for a super long time. That was one of the things I sold this year because it had so much gain. In
okay,
it.
so you've already done that.
So that was one of the ways to
Yeah.
Because a lot of the income is money out of my regular brokerage account that's already had taxes.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even though you're living off it, you're not paying a lot of taxes.
That's right.
So I had this big mutual fund that had, tens of thousands in gains for the last.
Was that part of that $40,000 that you started the conversation with
Yeah.
income? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You did it. You did parts of it. Just figure out if there's any more room in there before it affects your copay.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
Okay, so I'll look at those. So
Appreciate the call.
Yep. Good luck on
all right,
retirement.
thanks a lot.
Congrats on the retire.